Mr. Chair and prestigious members of this committee, I want to thank you very much for taking the time today to hear what I believe is to be an extremely important topic. It is not something that has not been spoken about in the past, but it is something that I've had the opportunity to bring back in front of the General Assembly this last session. I also want to say I appreciate very much your expediency and your efficiency in moving forward the final report, and with the possibility of maybe including this subject within the recommendation. So I want to thank you for that. So, Mr. Chair and members of the committee, where this started, I authored Senate Bill 398 this year. I had a number of co-authors. My second author was Senator John Ford. And what this bill required, it required the Department of Child Services to enter in an agreement with the adoptive parent or parents of a child with special needs who is eligible for an adoption subsidy to provide that adoption subsidy for the child. And the subsidy that was to be provided was had a floor of at least 50% of the subsidies that parents, when they were fostering, had received. It is my understanding that during the Governor Daniels' administration, that is the time when this changed. And back at that time, subsidies that were given to adoptive parents were 75% of what they had when they were fostering. Now, I'm fully aware that when a foster parent or parents decides to adopt children, that they're doing that because they love those children, obviously, and they want to take them in their homes, they want to provide good lives for them. But I also believe that when this takes place, that when they're taking in children that do have special needs, and special needs that is not, it could be, but it is not developmentally disabled children. It is children that may have undergone trauma. They may have undergone injury. They may be addicted to drugs because the parents use drugs. It could be a whole range of different things that require these children to continue to have special therapy and treatment. So that's what we're really talking about today. And I believe that when loving parents are wanting to adopt, that the needs of these children do not change with the proper treatment, and sometimes they may, and sometimes that's determined, but in most cases, the needs of those children don't change, and the financial ability of the parents also does not change. So our whole quest here is to try to do the most we can for parents wishing to adopt, and for trying to do the best we can for our state's most vulnerable children. And I know that there's probably a great number of very good cases out there that people are just happy, but there are also a number of cases where, in the case, what you'll hear stories today from people that are very much more involved in the system on a daily basis than I am, but you may hear stories where the adoption the subsidies that were offered, because now these subsidies have to be negotiated. But sometimes, let's say, if the fostering parent may have had $30 a day in a foster subsidy, now they're being offered $2 a day. Now, that may be the extreme, but you're going to hear of those extreme cases. And maybe we can't get everything perfect, but I think it is our duty as legislators to try to do our best. And the same with the Department of Child Services. Obviously, we're all in this to try to do the very best we can for those children in need. So that's pretty much my opening. There's going to be, I think, very good testimony coming today. I'm more than happy to take any questions if I'm able to answer those at the time or upon completion of our testimony today.
Thank you, Senator. Is the issue the amount of the subsidy?
Yes, and you may also hear about how those subsidies are arranged. Those are CANS assessments, and they're done in grades. And I think there are, I'm not sure how many levels, if it's 4 or 5. Also, during session, this bill came out of the Family and Children's Services Committee. It was on February 18th with a vote to 7-0. Unfortunately, it did not make it in time to get to the Appropriations Committee on the deadline. I was not aware of the deadline. Senator Mishler actually spoke to me. He said, Senator Niezgodski, I know that you did not know this, and through the help of a number of different legislators, including Senator Ford, we actually had a good portion of this bill put into the budget. And unfortunately, that may have been the last day, if it not was the last day and a half where this language was removed. But this language would have done great good for our state's most vulnerable children.